Heyo, so today we're going to be bringing back an old but gold art supply that I have not used, and I want to say like 2 or 3 years-ish. I have just had this huge burst of motivation specifically to use acrylic markers or paint pens, whatever you want to call them. And I have these Master's Touch acrylic markers with a 2mm brush nib that I got at Hobby Lobby forever ago. They were originally $30. I think I got them for like $10 or something because I just had like massive coupons. But I have seen so many people on my Blue Sky feed using acrylic paint pens, and I'm like, I want to jump in on this again because last time I used these was the final artwork of the print of my Lucy fur, which is available on my Etsy shop. The link is down below. And at first I was going to be nervous that they didn't work anymore. I was so scared. I was like, I'm going to have to go out and buy some new ones. So I swatched them all and they all work. Some of them work better than others. I remember the white not being very pigmented, the black lacking pigment, and then the very pale yellow. They were about the same, but everything else worked just as well as you would expect. And some of them are a bit more opaque than others. Some of them are very transparent, which actually worked out perfectly. So this artwork that I have here is my OC Cole. He's been with me for almost 11, 12 years now, and I love him so much. His story has really developed a lot in the last decade, and part of his big thing is that he has a giant garden, and I love gardening, so this was absolutely perfect to just give him a garden as well. Mine's a little bucket garden. I have like 3 or 4 buckets. It's just like some tomatoes and some really sad pepper plants, and then like one pepper plant that's thriving. But Cole's garden has like the squash, bridge, arch, whatever you want to call it, corn, raised beds, that kind of stuff. And I just want to shout out credit where credit's due. This huge inspiration to draw Cole in his garden did come from Red Leaf Ranch over on Instagram, and I'm not on Instagram, but I check up on there check up on my art friends every so often, and I do follow him and his garden. It is just so inspiring. Also low-key inspired the outfit, but I was also inspired by the grass type gym leader from Pokemon Sword and Shield, Milo, like that hat style and everything. So I was like, that's the direction I'm going. Those two were big inspirations for the sketch, and I was so scared of ruining this because, like I said, I wasn't sure if these markers were going to work, and when I did my swatch to see that they did work, I didn't have Cole's skin tone. Now Cole's skin tone is very, like, the color I use for it normally is a gel pen. It's specifically the Uniball Signo 0.38 GX in khaki, which has been discontinued. So if anybody knows any replacements, please let me know. I'm desperate for a replacement color that looks identical. I think I found some, but I have to wait until I can place an order on jet pens. But yeah, they didn't have a skin tone, so I went up to Michael's looking to see if there was anything that was similar, and they didn't have any. Well, they had very slim pickings on their acrylic paint markers to begin with. Yeah, they had Poscas. They had their brand with like the really small plastic nib, but just like not what I was looking for. But I did find out that layering a couple colors on top of each other worked, and especially for shading, because the darkest color I believe is called coffee, and then like the next darkest one is like black, and these dry very, very fast, so blending wet on wet wasn't really an option. But I found that the coffee is semi-transparent, so I was able to layer indigo or violet. It was a very dark purple. I'm pretty sure it was violet. They don't have color names on the barrels. I was able to layer that under his skin, put the brown over it, and then I actually went on top of that with the beige color, because that brings some of the, like, it brings his skin tone lighter than, because coffee was too dark. It lightens up his skin tone while also pulling back on that warmness, because the coolness, it brings back some of the warmth. And then I just went over the areas of purple with the coffee color for shading, because at that point the cool purple contrasted the warm beige color just a smidge. I was so scared of ruining the face, but I think I did okay, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able really to fix the eyes or anything with the white, because the white like barely works. But hey, I love these for what they are, so I made it work. And the first half of this video where I'm coloring Cole himself and then the flowers, or the start of the flowers, was recorded between the times of 1:30 and 3:30 in the morning, because I was having a manic episode. My family will not stop harassing me at this point, calling me a liar about the way I left the room or whatever. I'm getting consistent text messages from my mother saying like, it shouldn't be this way, you have to do this, blah blah blah. I said consistent, it was like 2. All of this is eating away at me like crazy, because I know I'm doing what I have to do for myself, and I'm still being told by people I thought I can love and trust that I'm wrong. So that's kind of disheartening for the most part. So I really just couldn't sleep. So I decided to go and record a video, which is why the beginning of this is kind of dark. I'll see if I can fix that in post. But yeah, it's kind of dark. I actually had my other phone's flashlight on, propped onto the top of a candle holder from Bath and Body Works to act as a lamp. And then my fiance came down and was like, what are you doing down here? And we kind of just like talked for at least half an hour. I cried a lot. And then the next day I felt better, so I continued working on it. We got the Nintendo 64 hooked up to the TV. So my fiance was playing Conker's Bad Fur Day while I was working on the rest of this illustration. A lot of this did have a lot to do with layering and blending because there are 3 greens. I have, well actually there's technically 2. I have peacock green and a light green. And then I have like a turquoise color. And that's it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 variations of like pink and red-ish colors and 2 green. So I did have to do some layering. I had to layer like blues under some greens. Well, first it was like blue and then yellow and then green. And then the other ones were like purple and then green and then black and green. And that squash arch drove me crazy. Like I had such a clear idea for how I wanted it in my head, and then I rushed into it and I tried to save it. I think I did okay. The only pen that wasn't like included in this set is the silver I used for the underside of the squash arch. It is a silver paint pen that from forever ago. And it's starting to like dry out, get a little sticky, but we made it work. And then the little chicken on top. Cole also has chickens. He's like low-key become a homestead kind of dad, and I love him for it. And I'm canon 100%. His chickens do not like his husband Casper, especially Henrietta. Henrietta is Cole's favorite hen. She is very protective of him, even though he's been with Casper way before he got Henrietta. But Henrietta definitely follows him around the garden when he's doing work, so I had to put a little Henrietta up there. She was just so cute. I love the way she came out. She's adorable. But once I got all of the flat color and everything done, because the shading, you know, was done, flat color shading, cell shading, whatever you want to call it. Once I got all the color done, I was like, shoot, I have to do line art. And I'm very lucky that these pens were transparent enough that the line art of the pencil I didn't erase any of the pencil because I wanted to be able to see through a little bit of it. I blocked out with paint pens where I wanted the pencil to be covered, so some places you can't even tell, like at least in this stage. And I thought, fuck, how am I gonna line this? I'm gonna have to use a brush pen, won't I? Because a regular fine liner will get clogged in the acrylic paint. Yay! No, not yay. I have such a heavy hand and I have carpal tunnel. So brush pens don't work very well for me, but I did my best, and I think his eyes came out way too thick. I smudged his mouth because the ink didn't dry 100% immediately on the paint. So it looks like he's just got like a really big Joker smile, and I tried to cover it up with more beige and it just didn't touch it at all. And I'm just, that's like the only real mistake. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But besides that, I just got a white gel pen and did some quick highlights, and that was my first acrylic painting in the sketchbook down. And I say first because I do want to keep using these markers for things. I love these markers. But now what I would love is a big pack of the Artex markers that have way more colors than this, so I can actually do his skin tone properly. But hey, listen, this is the cheap pack from Hobby Lobby of all places, and I love the brush pens on these, the brush nibs. They're just so juicy. They have really good coverage. Like at one point I was going over the bush with the yellow, and first pass of yellow you could still see the pencil through. Second pass, pencil's gone, you can't even see it. I love these. I love the way this art came out. And even though I have been having a very hard time mentally, I'm very happy that level of anxiety and stuff is still pushing forward, or pushing through, I guess, for me to be able to be creative. I always said I make my best works when I'm at my lowest. And this, I would say, is proof of that, because the last time I used paint pens, it was Lucy Fur. The first time I used paint pens on this channel was like a personification of Pennsylvania when Joe Biden won the presidency. So that's a throwback. And then the next one was the first rendition of Lucy Fur. And then I used these pens for her second rendition. And every single time I've gone in with paint pens, even the revamped Lucy Fur, I was like, oh, that's not really my favorite thing I've done. But this, ooh, this though. Mwah, mwah, chef's kiss. I love the way this came out. And I do think that's because of my understanding of certain supplies and everything, like color theory I have been playing with in the last 2 years. So very happy with the way that came out. So I'm just gonna leave this here because I've run out of things to talk about, honestly. So thank you guys so much for watching. The links to my Etsy to get a Lucy Fur print or other Has-Been Hotel and Hellverse print or other stickers is down below in the description, as well as my Blue Sky. I do post on there. I try to please post a text post daily. I do a photo post, definite Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays. So be sure to check that out. I do also post like things I'm thinking about, my gardening, what I make for dinner, and desserts I make because I'm a baker. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week with something. I have one of two things planned and I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but we'll figure it out.